Houston, we have a problem. When 8-year-olds are deciding the narrative, we're in real trouble. I mean, I actually want to laugh, otherwise I'll cry. But it seems that common sense has left the building and some weird sort of malevolent spirit has entered the room. You see, if my 5-year-old son told me that he identifies as a girl, the first thing I would ask him is where did he hear those words, because frankly they belong in an adult conversation. And rather than pandering to him and changing all his pronouns and embellishing his delusion, I'll ask him questions like, what is a girl? What does a girl do? And what makes you think that you are one? But it seems some adults are prepared to embellish this fantasy and potentially set these children up for a life of gender confusion and delusion, because that's what it is, in my view. I mean, take the case of a female Christian primary school teacher who claims that she was pretty much sacked after refusing to use an 8-year-old's preferred pronouns. Apparently, the school helped the youngster transition into a boy and then demanded that all staff call the child by their preferred male name and pronouns. I mean, this is an 8-year-old. At 8 years old, I was more worried about going out to play on my bike and conkers, although I don't think the kids are allowed to do that game anymore, health and safety. I mean, perhaps that's the problem. These days, our children have so much time on their hands and unspent energy that they're placing it on all this nonsense. And apparently, this teacher was concerned about the well-being of this child as they were allowed to use the male changing rooms during their transition, despite being a biological girl, so female, and only 8 years old. I mean, come on, where are the adults in the room? Instead of listening to the valid concerns of the teacher, the child was subsequently removed from their class to safeguard them, meaning the child, from any potential harm. And then the teacher was warned by the school that her personal beliefs could be a direct breach of GDPR and an act of direct discrimination if she acted on them. I mean, can you believe this? If this were my child, I wouldn't want her changing with the boys. I don't care what gender she thinks that she is. She's 8. I'm the parent and she's a girl. But the story gets worse. The teacher claims that she was later suspended and put under disciplinary investigation for an alleged ongoing refusal to follow a management instruction. She was only reinstated when she agreed to avoid unnecessary contact with the child and promised not to call the child by a name or any other gender-specific pronouns. So why does this matter? Well, I imagine that Sir Keir Starmer would dismiss this as part of the so-called culture wars, as not relevant to the electorate, and that the focus is more on the cost of living. And I wrote about why I think he's wrong and about the fear my teenage daughter has about the whole gender confusion, because I believe it matters. When people's careers and the welfare of our children is at stake, it matters. It matters deeply.